Now, if the lead doesn't answer, our system actually hangs up and it will call that lead again and leave a voicemail in their system. So that automates that component. And then we do automated texting and email. And it's not one way, it's actually two-way texting because a lot of people prefer texting over phone calls. You actually have over a 90% open rate with texting. So if that's the highest percentage open rate, we want to leverage that because that's the closest to making money.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Welcome back to the My Future Business Show. As you know, my name's Rick Nusky. I am your host, and I have a big smile on my face today because I'm on the line with Robin Alex. How are you, Robin?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's absolutely my pleasure. Now, I know that you're the founder of Innovate Fast. I'd love to go into that and your software. This is right up my alley. I love software. I love technology. Just love everything about it. And in the 21st century we live in, it's hard to avoid it. It is everywhere. It is omnipresent. So where are you located at the moment, Robin?
Yeah, so I am actually located here in Dallas, Texas.
Fantastic.
So right in the center of all the craziness going on everywhere.
That's wonderful. I know that, I see a lot of startups and things like that. I think that might be a good way to start the conversation because everybody starts somewhere, don't they?
Yep, they sure do.
So how was it that Innovate Fast became an idea from you, and how did you go from that point?
Yeah, so, you talk about startups. When I was actually 16, I started my first business, and it was big. Back then, it was online gaming was huge. So games like Counter-Strike, Battlefield 1942, Diablo, games like that were really popular. This is probably back in 2000 actually.
Yeah.
So gaming was a little bit different than the way it is now.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very niche, and you had to kind of be real techie and geeky to be into it. And so I was really into those games and had the opportunity to be able to host a server for my friends.
Yep.
And from there, as we hosted it, other people were asking, if we can host it for them, and it blew up into a decent sized business, mostly at the age of 17, 18, 19. We ended up blowing it up to where we were in multiple countries around the world. Multiple data centers, running an operation that was 24 hours, hosting game servers. So we blew it up fairly quickly. Didn't know much about business. And back then the online space was a lot different than it is today. And I was also in college. And so I had the opportunity to actually sell the business. And so sold it at 19 and then got into a couple of other businesses and as a consultant, working for businesses inside and out. Along the way, people knew that I was very tech savvy, and they would ask me to help them with, their website or development on CRMs and things like that.
Yeah.
Before, the SaaS industry really built up. And I would take on those projects, and, what I learned was it became a very feast and famine mode. Right. Yeah. So you get a project and you're working pretty deep into it. And once you build the deliverable, typically the client just walks away. They're done. They don't need anything else. And, through those interactions, people would also ask me like, hey, we're working with this marketing company and they're showing us all this cool stuff, but the business never really understood why they would need to spend that money. Yeah. Although, in the mid 2000s, early noughts, it was about who can spend the most money in technology and marketing, but no one knew why or what you were actually buying. And it bothered me a little bit because, you would never see results on the back end. And so when we created Innovate Fast in 2015, the focus has always been, what can we do to provide value and really focus on the numbers. So as a marketing agency, as a consulting agency, if we help a business, what are we showing on the back end that we're providing results? And results most of the time, 95, 96% of the time equates to dollars. So for every dollar that you spend in marketing and, and everything overall equals X amount of dollars on the back end. So that's our primary focus now.
Yeah, well, that's a wonderful insight into the path that's led to you to where you are today. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I am, again, I'm deep into marketing. You know, if they, I often hear, if you're not online with your business, where are you? And if you're not measuring what you're making, what actually are you making? It just seems to me like it's not something that you can look away from, is it?
And no, I mean, if you want it to be able to be scalable, those are the numbers that you have to look at. If you're just trying to be referral based and just using your natural, connections, it's not necessarily scalable. You
Hmm.
can make lots of money that way, but if you're looking at it from more of a mathematical equation,
Hmm.
you have to be able to justify those ROI numbers.
Yeah, look, I always come back to this word about omnipresence, and mathematics is obviously something that's always with us in one form or another, and it's just it's something I look at with regard to software. I'm really want to focus in on the software side throughout the call, if we could, Robin, because that excites me. Because I see a lot of people coming into this space as developers, and you have a lot of these cheap LTD lifetime deal offers going in and out. How do people know what the difference between a good piece of software and a fly by nighter that won't be there tomorrow? How do they work that out?
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a couple of things that you look at. One is who are the people behind the software,
Yep.
and if they have experience in the industry that they're building the software for,
Yep.
and then also looking at the type of support that they're providing. A lot of times, with the fly-by-night software, it's either a marketer who's really pushing the software, and they just had, one single developer building it out, and it's very specific on what it can do. But really, the products that work really well, you have a full line of developers, and they're constantly going deeper into the features, and they're always available and very transparent in how the software is built and the features and everything that's coming out over time.
Yeah, and I think about things like roadmaps. Are they something that you offer to people that are looking at your business?
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, not only with the agency, but we actually translated what we do in the agency to a piece of software to help our clients.
Yep.
And so the software is called High Level. So you can go to gohighlevel.com. And so what the software actually does is it helps, as you run internet marketing or even traditional marketing, it helps manage those leads and increases the contact speed from lead to becoming prospect. So for us, from a development perspective, we have a great development team, and we're ramping that up. And so as far as roadmaps, we're actually transparent. So we actually did two different things. We only focus to agencies, marketing agencies and consultants,
Right.
because they're the ones who actually understand how to incorporate this into a business.
Hmm.
And so that's our target audience. And so with that target audience, we actually created an idea board. And so with this idea board, all these agencies who are managing different clients had the opportunity to put up their ideas in improving the software. And then we also create our roadmap based on how people vote up things in that idea board. So when we talk about transparency, people actually see what we're working on because we're building it for them.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I always like to know, if I'm investing in something, because this is what this is. This is an investment in future growth. I'd like to know the story behind the business, the people that are running the business, and those sorts of questions. I wonder. You talked about your target audience just a little earlier, Robin. How did you identify that target audience, and where does your product fit with that demographic, if you like?
Yeah. So the way that we came up with the software is, as we have an agency, our focus is on delivering results for people. Once we're delivering results, we needed a way to be able to speed up the reporting that a business, once they receive a lead, what are they doing with that lead? Are they converting into a customer? And, prior to that, it was using a lot of different basic automations. So we're using a product called Zapier. We're running leads to Google Sheets, using text messaging through Twilio, which is very developer centric,
Mm-hmm.
trying to use companies like SendGrid or Mailgun to do emailing. And so it becomes your tech stack as a marketing agency trying to deliver to a client just becomes really crazy.
Yeah, and I can hear that. That is a crazy part, especially for those who are starting to expand. So continue on.
Yeah. And so it becomes very difficult to scale. And then once you're doing all this stuff, you deliver it to the client and you deliver them a lead and it shows up on a Google Sheet. and you say, look, I delivered you hundreds of leads. It's up to you, Mr. Mrs. Business Owner,
Yeah.
for you to do a follow-up and contact. And while in actuality, that's actually pretty good service because you're delivering them prospects or ideal clientele, many businesses are not used to that model. They're very shy. Most businesses today prefer inbound business, someone coming to them and you can sell them very quickly.
Yeah.
But when you're running online advertising or traditional marketing, you're having to do a little bit more prospecting, right? So you have to be able to sell a little bit differently than what you've done in the past. And so that requires, calling Rick directly and saying, Rick, I think you might be interested. Can I tell you a little bit more about this? And some, text messaging, leaving voicemails and things like that. Those are great ways of communication, but it's difficult for business owners when they're not used to doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
So as we built the software out, it was to help close that gap for our clients as an agency. So when we deliver a lead, we want to be able to map that whole process out. We want to see all the leads that have come in. We want to see, things of you moving leads in different stages in a pipeline. When a lead comes in, we want to be able to present the call to you directly. So a lead comes in, we're calling the business directly saying, hey, you have a new lead from Facebook. The lead's name is Rick. Press 1 and we'll connect you.
Oh, wow.
So now you can press 1 and it calls the lead.
Yeah, so there's that human touch there, isn't there?
Exactly. And so now we're forcing that call because in reality, if someone signs up to something online, you have about 15 minutes to contact them before they even forget what they even signed up about. And that's on the extreme side. You want to get it, under 5 minutes if you can.
Yeah.
So we do that. Now, if the lead answers, we have the ability to record that call. That's an important piece of the pie, right? Because you want to do quality assurance, figure out what you're saying and what you can improve. Now, if the lead doesn't answer, our system actually hangs up and it will call that lead again and leave a voicemail in their system.
Wow.
So that automates that component. And then we do automated texting and email. And it's not one way, it's actually two-way texting because a lot of people prefer texting over phone calls. You actually have over a 90% open rate with texting. So if that's the highest percentage open rate, we want to leverage that because that's the closest to making money.
Yeah, that's great. There's just some of these tools in there that you think about these things a lot, but when somebody systematizes it, for lack of better ways to put it, it just makes the experience so much more seamless, doesn't it?
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. And then it's a matter of increasing the volume. Once you figure out that system, let's bring more in, run them through our system. And now we actually see a revenue increase on the back end.
So your touch points with your clients must be very, very frequent and very close, and you'd have very strong relationships with them, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, that's the only way that, us as an agency with our clients, that's the only way that we can be transparent with our client and what we're doing and seeing what we're delivering to them. And we can see the increase in growth and figure out where the gaps are, where the leaks that we can plug pretty quickly, occur at.
Yeah, I looked at your website for this particular piece of software and it looks fantastic. There was something that piqued my interest right down the bottom about, if you were interested in SaaS, click here to contact us. I'd love to circle back on that in a little while, but what are some of the metrics from an agency level that you teach and educate your clients about? What are the important metrics for them to be observing?
Yeah. So, to your earlier question about how did we decide to go to marketing agencies, what we learned was if you go straight to a business and try to sell them on this software, they don't really know that they need to have all these different stages in place, nor do they know how to implement a marketing strategy on top of a software. And so the only people that we feel confident that can implement a marketing strategy on top of our software are the agencies.
Got it.
And so that's how we identified who and, we're targeting from a ideal market standpoint. So I think that's like a very important piece to the puzzle.
Are the metrics for your target audience in knowing that, are they expanded? Are they more complex? How do you know what's right for them?
Yeah. So now that we're talking about marketing agencies and we talk about metrics, before it was about the volume of leads that you can present to a client. Now with our system, we're focusing more on what are the conversion rates going from lead to prospect to appointments and appointments to close. let's figure out those metrics, as well as what does that mean from a dollar perspective? Because you want to know if you're bringing in 200 leads and only 20% turned into prospect, and each one of those prospects is the equivalent of, $10,000 per lead. Well, now you're talking about, hundreds of thousands of dollars that if you're monitoring that, you can actually see where everything is growing from a business perspective.
Yeah.
So we're changing the conversation for marketing agencies, not focusing on the leads. It's how good are the leads and how good is the business actually closing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I often think about the onboarding process for businesses like yourself. Is there a point in time where you say, look, either you're a good fit for our business or you're not? What's the onboarding process like for your company?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's very simple since we're only targeting marketing agencies. It's, if you're a marketing agency and you have a marketing strategy, you're an ideal fit for our product because you need something to systemize your business to deliver better results for your clients.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about onboarding for clients, that's a little bit different strategy. So on our marketing side, we have frequent calls with our clients. We want to be as transparent in what we're doing as well as what they're doing. So when we drive leads to high level, we are monitoring what they're doing with it. So response and how quickly they're responding back to their leads that are coming in.
Yep.
We're listening to the calls. We have weekly meetings with our clients to go over what happened this past week and really figure out what we could do to improve and what they can do to improve as well.
That's really appealing to me because I often hear, there's this hands-off approach, sell us a piece of software and run away and the rest is up to you. And that's a complete turning on its head, isn't it?
Yeah. And, like I mentioned, when you evaluate a software, you want to figure out how good the support is, how responsive they are, and how transparent they are. And that's something that we, live and die by with our product.
So with everything being, I guess, web-based now, is this something that they go through directly through a web browser? Or how do they actually access the platform?
Yeah, so High Level actually has two different platforms. One is a web-based app, so you can go to, go highlevel.com, you log in, you're in the desktop application there from a web app. And then we also have a mobile app, and the mobile app works, really well for two-way communication.
Yeah.
It allows you to send reviews out, and we're expanding those drastically on both sides.
That's awesome. I just love the whole idea of what we've got going on here now. What's in the I guess the pipeline for your next stage of development in your business?
Yeah, so we're doing a couple of things. On the software side, we are rolling out a brand new calendar component.
Yep.
And so we started out with a basic calendar. We wanted to feel the market out and with marketing agencies and how they use it with their clients. We had a huge response in updating the calendar. And so now we're taking a lot of products from some of the big players out there. So Schedule Once, Calendly,
Yep.
All these different applications. And we are actually taking the best of all those and putting it in our product in kind of our own way of how we think it should work. It's a big development process, but we're trying to accomplish it over the next 1 to 2 months, actually. And we're launching our first release, our first sprint tomorrow, actually.
Well, that's wonderful. I think you should definitely keep at it because, if you can make that whole experience seamless and essentially a one spot shop, that's really quintessential for the success of other marketing agencies. Now, I'm looking at your website here, and down the bottom of the page, you talked about if you wanted to get involved with SaaS, contact us. Could you share a little bit about what that's all about?
Yeah, so as a marketing agency, you have access to clients directly.
Right.
And, in the marketing space, mostly in the online marketing space, there is a common theme that a lot of people will say is niche down, really focus in on an industry,
Yep.
deliver the best in that industry, and you'll become a known player. And so what our software does is if you're the best in, let's say, the legal space, and you want to be able to just offer this as a canned piece of software
Yep.
for the legal space, we want to be able to partner with you. We want to deliver this. We want to be able to customize what we built out for the legal space and be your backbone and be able so that you can go out and say you have your own software for the legal space and be able to sell it directly to attorneys who can buy licenses to your software and plug and play it right away.
So it's
And so we want to be
essentially white labeling it, isn't it?
it's Yeah, so we actually have two components. So we can white label it if you're an agency,
Right.
and use it as your own brand for your agency side. Which, if you look at it from a do-it-yourself model versus a do-it-for-you model, we think that the agency model is more do-it-for-you, right? I'm doing it for a business.
Yeah.
The SaaS component is like the DIY service. So you can go out and sell it to an attorney and say, here's our platform. Good luck. You can use it specifically for the attorney space or the medical space or whatever it might be. That makes sense.
Yep. Yep. Oh, yeah. It just the depth and the breadth of opportunity here for anybody in that sort of marketing agency level is amazing. Now, I'd love for you to go through how people can find you should they want to contact you.
Oh,
Hello.
yeah. Did I lose you for a
Oh,
second?
yeah. Sometimes that happens with this wonderful thing called the internet. How can people find you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, so if they want to work with us on the agency side, the website is innovatefast.com. You can find us on Facebook as well as Instagram. And we typically work with service-based businesses more in the medical space.
Right.
So med spas, plastic surgeons, things of that nature, as well as in the education space. And so charter schools, daycares, preschools, private schools, even universities, we'd love to be able to work with you. So you can reach out to us directly there. As far as the software goes, you can check out gohighlevel.com. And that's specifically for marketing agencies. If you are an end business that's interested in the software, reach out to us as well. What we'll do is we will work with you directly to find a marketing agency that works specifically in your industry.
Right.
And then we'll partner you up with them to help implement it into your business as well.
Well, that's wonderful feedback. It's just been such a pleasure having you on the My Future Business show today. Now, if anybody who wants to reach out to Robin and his team, the links to their websites will be made available below this post. Robin, it's been a wonderful treat having you on the My Future Business show with me today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.